Now we're going to extract the head, the giraffe's head, from its background. And we're going to use a couple of different tools that we've already used before in kind of different combinations or with different settings. So to start out with, we're going to use the quick selection tool. And with the quick selection tool, we're going to select as much of the giraffe as we can. The more that we select, the easier it's going to be to refine. So we want to get as much of the big stuff that we can, and then we'll go back and refine it a little bit later. Now I want to get as close as I can to a lot of the hair stuff, the big stuff, and then we're going to refine it using the refinement tool later. Like this is too much here. It'll be much better if I get in closer, maybe with a smaller brush if I need to. Then we'll refine this in a second here. So I think that's most of it. The things that we really didn't get that we're going to look at in this tutorial are the hairs here, the little fine stuff. So let's go to Refine Edge now. And it's going to be better if it's on a black background here. And we can see a lot of this detail is not here. So what's going to work really well for us here without changing any of the radius or anything like that is to start right away with the Refine Radius tool. And then what I want to do is have a small brush and then look for things like the hairs here. I know where they are, so I can approximately get on them, and look, it picked them up pretty well. There's a lot of little hairs here, so we'll try to get those as well. And it might not pick them all the way up. It's there, but you can barely see it. So you might have to try a couple different times, or we just might not be able to see it on this background here. So you can barely see them, but they are there, and with a different colored background they would stand out more. The ones on the eyebrows here, and if you go around the ears, the best thing to do is just go around the edge. We don't want to get too much here because then it starts taking away from what we've already put on here. And there's hairs up here on the ears. And then around this here, and then we're going to start looking at his mane here. I think that's what it's called on a giraffe as well. And you can see there's hairs sticking out there that we want to try to get. And that did a pretty good job of isolating those, so you can see those little details there. And those little details make all the difference in the world when we go and start using this with another document, compositing with another document. This makes it look all the more realistic. I'm just going to get this edge here, make sure this is nice and smooth. There's a few little hairs there as well. But the closer you can stick to the edge, the better it's going to be. Now, this looks really, really good right here. If you start seeing some areas that are looking a little transparent, what you can do to try to adjust for that is select Decontaminate Colors, and this will fill those areas in a little bit. And this actually might help with those hairs out there. No. It's better to bring it in a little bit there. And I think for what we did, we probably didn't even need that. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a difference with it on or off. But you can play with it. I mean, it's one of the things that you can play with, especially when you're doing human hair or like curly hair stuff. There's a lot of stray hairs that you want to pick up. This helps. So we're going to save a new layer with a layer mask. We want a layer with a layer mask, and we're going to click OK. And this layer here is what we're going to copy to our new document. So we want to make sure this layer is selected. Select the Move tool. I hit V on the keyboard. And then drag from the middle of the image here onto the tab of the new document. Oops, that's the wrong one. This one here. And then make sure you put it in the you put your cursor on the pixels themselves, and then it'll copy it there. So it copied that layer along with the mask on top of the background here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to transform this. So Control T and try to get it to be the same width as his neck here. And we're going to probably have to rotate it a little bit. And one of the things that I did, see, we'll get it close here. I think that's pretty good. Was I wanted to add more. I wanted the neck to be longer. I thought it would be cooler if the neck was longer. So what I did was I added more to the mane here. And to do that, I just used the clone stamp tool and cloned more of this here. So we can take the clone stamp tool and with the clone stamp tool selected, we want to make sure that we're on the pixel part and not the layer mask part of our head layer. Also, I want to label this. It will be important later. So there's the head, and I want to be on the pixels, which is the part that has the squares on it, the grid on it. So with that selected, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sample from the part that I want to recreate here or extend here. So hold down the Alt key, and then from here I'm just going to drag it down until I get as much as I want to duplicate here. So that looks pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's going to do for what we want to use it for. So if I wanted to, I could extend more of this. I could take this particular dot here, if I zoomed in, and probably make this a little wider. I mean, there's so much you can do with this stuff that you got to just work with it. Look, I screwed up a little bit there, so I'd have to go back and do that again. But I could get the spots to all match up. Again, there's a lot that I could do with it here. If I wanted to get this spot to extend this spot out here, I could select here and then just clone in over here. I'm getting the edge there, but I'm only going to probably use up to here, so I don't have to go too crazy with that. And I might have to go and recopy some of these other spots here as well. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make it perfect. You guys do that on yours. This one probably would be a good place to sample to fix that there. Now another thing that we can see here, and it's probably not going to be important right now, but see this line that's here? We might want to get rid of this with the brush tool when we get a chance, if we're seeing it there. So remember, on a mask, if we go to the mask here, white is going to reveal, black is going to hide. So if we take a brush and we take a black brush, we're going to be able to hide that line there and any other part of the mask that we don't want to show. So I'm going to actually do that now, so then I don't have to do it later. And I think somehow or another I shifted the mask. Yours might not do that, but mine did, and I don't want it there because I don't want it in my image. So again, it's pretty easy to just get rid of it, to erase it, if that happens. But you can see here with this, the giraffe that's copied over, I got all those hairs there, that nice detail. The mask is pretty sweet. It looks really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fix it into the neck here. And before I do that, I want this to be black and white. I want it to appear black and white, so I'm going to choose this black and white adjustment layer, and this is going to make it fit all together better.